Welcome back to ABC News Live. First, a defense witness is on the stand in the Karen Reed murder retrial. Dr. Elizabeth La Posada is a forensic pathologist, medical examiner, and a professor at Brown University. She's testified that she's done at least 100 death investigations involving hypothermia and says John O'Keefe did not die of hypothermia. Keep in mind, Reed's accused of hitting O'Keefe with her SUV and then leaving him to die in the snow. The defense has argued she dropped him off at a house party and then left without any incident. Let's bring in ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin and civil trial attorney Tre Lovell for more. Tre, before the jury came in, the judge also heard arguments about a future defense witness. The prosecution made this motion to limit the testimony of a crash reconstruction expert. What do you make of the move there, and how do you see that playing out?
Yeah, well, the prosecution wants to limit as much as they can any type of expert testimony. Certainly it's going to contradict their own experts. And so often what happens is there's going to be a challenge to the expert, either on qualifications, experience, methodology, what have you, to try to either exclude all out or limit the testimony. So it's not unusual. Both sides have been trying to do it, through the entire course of the trial. And it's very important because they really want to slimline each other's, scope of expert testimony so they can expand their own.
All right, Olivia Rubin, Tre Lovell, thank you both. We've been listening there to testimony from defense witness Elizabeth La Posada, a forensic pathologist, medical examiner, and professor at Brown University, testifying in the Karen Reed murder retrial. La Posada testified that in her professional opinion, John O'Keefe did not die of hypothermia. Now, that contradicts the prosecution's assertion that Karen Reed hit O'Keefe with her SUV and then left him to die in the snow. La Posada also echoed testimony from a previous defense witness that some of John O'Keefe's injuries are consistent with a dog attack, not being hit by a car. Let's bring in ABC News investigative reporter Olivia Rubin and civil trial attorney Tre Lovell for more. Tre, unlike the prosecution, the defense does not have to prove their theory beyond a reasonable doubt. They just have to raise enough doubt that the prosecution's assertion of what happened could be wrong. What are you watching for during cross-examination, and how do you think they've done with this witness so far?
I think they're doing a good job with this witness. She's really coming to two serious and significant points: the challenge against the hypothermia, and kind of tying it to an animal-based attack. I think what was one thing that's kind of interesting. I think the defense probably wanted to get her to be able to give an opinion that it was a dog, but the court may have pulled that back, saying there may not either be qualifications enough to actually tie it to a specific animal, but they were able to get it in, certainly, overall. Now, the jury's never going to hear that, but, I think the defense wanted to take it a little bit further, but I think the judge pulled them back.
Oh, I see. So they stopped when she was saying the incisors and the canines and whatnot. They didn't allow her to go so far as to say specifically belonging to a dog, just an animal in general.
Yes, that's correct.
Tre, what are you watching for when the prosecution gets a chance to question this witness?
They're going to go after the methodology. They're going to probably suggest things that she may not have looked at, things that their experts, had pointed out to, and really and challenge the hypothermia, certainly, and also probably challenge the testimony about the animal. There's certain ways that an attorney can go after an expert. But the experts are very intelligent. So, it's always kind of a battle of wits. But they're going to launch off their own experts and try to get her to make certain concessions. They're not going to get everything, but they're going to get certain concessions, and then they make the arguments to the jury.
All right, Olivia Rubin, Tre Lovell, thank you both.